So what do you think about work-to-life balance?
We were working 20 hours a day like this.
This is just too crazy to be true. Yes, this is what I was told. Like, I had no idea about this until yesterday. Yeah, Estonia is very convenient.
For me, it's Canadian people.
Hey, Gobi.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Let me tell you a bit about my project. So, when I'm traveling, I try to meet people from the IT sphere in these countries and to talk to them about how they live, how they work, how the business is going, how difficult it is to find talent, clients, and things like that. And the reason behind that is that everyone knows how IT works, let's say in Silicon Valley, in Berlin, in those popular places, but no one knows about Sri Lanka, Egypt, Thailand, I don't know, you name it. And that's why it made me curious, and that's the whole scope of this project. Now, to tell you about myself, I run an agency, a software development agency like yours, but a bit bigger and older. Mine is 17 years old and I have 70 people on staff. My other business is a QA, quality assurance agency, which is 7 years old. And, well, basically that's what I've been doing. Now, I'm here in Colombo, Sri Lanka, and at the office at Huex, all right? And let's start with yourself. Can you introduce yourself and tell me a bit about your background? Like, you started as a software engineer, you started as a business person. What's your background?
Yeah, so I'm Gobinthiran Kulendran. So I'm just 24 years old. And I'm still studying at the University of Mortua, a local university in Sri Lanka, in third year, second semester. But we started this company in 2019. I have two more partners. So my story starts from 2007. I was in the northern side of Sri Lanka, so there was the war happened. So I was in the rebels controlled area in 2007. So there I saw the computer in the first time. So I impressed with computers and I wanted to be with computers all the time. So there where we started the computer and the relationship between computer and me. So after that, war ended in 2009. So we moved to Maunia, another city, and then after that, I started my this company in 2009 with my friend 2019 with my friends when I entered to university. So that's how we started. We started from freelancing, and then we converted that freelancing into a business.
But you are a developer yourself.
No, I'm a user experience designer.
Hey, I'm Konst, and I run two IT service agencies in Ukraine. Yes, it's gonna be about Ukraine, but I'm not asking you to donate. I'm asking you to watch and reshare. As a founder, I have a crucial battle to win, the economic one. As long as my business stands, I can keep my teammates employed and create new livelihood opportunities for tech talents who lost their jobs because of the war. In turn, these teammates can provide for their families, support local sellers, barbers, artists, and make donations themselves. And that's how we keep our economy alive. You know, our president, Volodymyr Zelensky, once said, "I need ammunition, not a right." I firmly believe every tech entrepreneur can relate to that, because we also need work, not charity. Yes, we continue working. We continue helping businesses speed up and secure releases, improve software quality, and add killer features. Despite the war, from safe locations, feeling brave, resilient, and grateful for having such an opportunity. I'm not diminishing the value of non-profits, collecting donations and humanitarian aid. These are essential, but if you want to support Ukraine long-term, consider choosing a service provider or product from Ukraine. Because we have plenty: Grammarly, Ajax, GitLab. Do these names ring any bells? All of them have Ukrainian roots. Stand with Ukraine by working with Ukraine. Make sure to check the links in the description below, where I go into more details into the hashtags Stand with Ukraine initiative and share resources where you can find cool Ukrainian products, from tech gadgets and SaaS to fashion and wellness and home decor. Glory to Ukraine. All right, and speaking of war, because I just mentioned it in the context of Ukraine, and we also have a war going on, and it's about to intensify. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I really hope it will not. But how was it during the war in Sri Lanka?
How was it?
Yeah.
During the war, I was like just 13 years old. So we moved to 21 places totally, and then I studied on 9 schools total. It was very brutal, and then we experienced very bad things in my life. So during that stages, it made me very depressed and so on. Yeah, it's very sad to a war is very bad, right? As you know, right?
And your ethnicity, you're Sinhala or Tamil?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm a Tamil.
Tamil. And nowadays, how is it between the two ethnicities here in Sri Lanka?
It's more harmony. We also have singular people who is working here, and then we also have Muslim people, it's very harm situation.
Are all Tamils Muslim?
Sorry?
Are all Tamils Muslim?
No, there's different 3 races here. One is Tamil in Sinhalese, and Muslims. A Muslim speaks Tamil.
All right.
But they consider it as a different race.
All right. So, as a UX designer, you started in the IT, and how did you ended up founding your own company?
First I started as a freelancer. Then I also worked at a company to gain some industrial experience. So I worked at a company for 1.5 years, and then while I'm doing the freelancing works, so little by little I was able to gain large projects. So then I decided to brand it as a company and then scale it up. So then 2 more partners joined. So that's how we started it.
So you are 3 partners, and how is ownership divided between the 3?
We have 2 totally. I'm included. It's 3. So I own 65%, and then other 2 owns 15-15.
And how would you describe the business model of your company? Is it outsourcing, agency, outstaffing? How exactly do you work?
It's outsourcing. We have 3 models. The first one is the dedicated team models. So let's say a client from Europe or North America or any even in Sri Lanka, they want to hire software engineers or any IT related staff. They can come with us, and then we already have 28 staff with us, and then if they need more, we can hire. So let's say you want a senior software engineer who is doing Android software development, we will provide that particular resource, and then we will charge for a monthly fee, including his salary and then administrative fees. So your job is to assign tasks. We will take care of everything from administration to recruitment and everything. So that's one model, and the second model is hourly rate model. So it's good for short-term engagement. So let's say a client has a very short-term engagement. So we will be doing that task, and then we will be billing for that particular hourly rates, and then send a timesheet. So that's the second one. And third model is the fixed cost model. Let's say a client has a very strong and clear scope of work. We will be estimating that scope of work, how much time will take, and then how much amount we will be charging, and then we will be delivering that one. So these are the 3 models we are doing.
All right, so you're doing all the 3 common business models on the market. So what's your experience with the fixed quote model? Because we at Redwerk, we dropped it about 10 years ago because we couldn't just deal with the scope creep. It was very difficult for us to meet those estimates because there are so many changing parts, there are so many variables that you cannot even control, like new devices, new operating system updates, new browsers. And once you've estimated like this and then something happens, boom, you are on another side of the estimate, and you're like, all right, now my margin is shrinking.
Yeah, that's exactly what is happening right now. So that's why we are focusing more into the dedicated team model, the outsourcing model. So our fixed model has this kind of issues, like we estimate was one thing and then we end up different one. So clients also they don't understand the technical stuff, so they keep changing their scope. So that's a big problem for us.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything you specialize on as a team?
Yeah, we specialized on, it's not like very narrow down, very niche market, but it's a common one. But so we specialized on kind of logistic digital transformation. So we worked with several clients to optimize their logistic operation using some softwares.
So logistics in terms of moving products or in terms of internal processes?
Moving products.
So, and do you have any products on your own?
Yes, we have a partner product. We have another partner in Germany. So we co-produced a product called Enormous. It's a restaurant management system, restaurant operation management system. So we're targeting German market. So that's we own a part of it, and then they own a part of it.
All right. So let's talk about your staff. Can you tell me about your first hire?
So the first hire was his name was Sajid. So he's from a community called JAL IT Hub. So JAL IT Hub is a community that encourages IT related stuff like their goal is to create a Silicon Valley in Jaffna. So there I met Sajid. So he joined as a full-time employee, first full-time employee. He was like. Came to join for a very lower salary because he wanted to help out, and then because we were in this early stage, right? So that's first hire.
Is he still with you?
No, he left in the middle of after about 1 year ago. We had a very financial problem, so we were even get salary for 6 months like that. So he has a family, so I told him to leave the company, and then.
But what happens? Why did you have this financial problem?
We couldn't get clients. I don't travel much, so I use social media and then other networking platform to get clients. So at that time, we couldn't get clients. We are very young people. We don't have experience, and then. We never worked with any salespeople like that. So we are our own salespeople. So we don't have any experience. So we couldn't have a strong strategy to get more clients. So that we struggled at that moment.
All right. And after that, did anything change in this regard?
You mean strategies? Yeah, we developed some strategies and it's working right now. And that's how we are here.
What other roles rather than developers do you have on the team?
We have quality assurance engineers, and then DevOps, and then user experience designer, business analysts, marketing team like digital marketing people. Yeah, that's it.
And who does account management?
We give it for external company. We don't have internal accounting guys. We give our accounting, internal accounting things to external firm. They handle everything.
Mm-hmm. And do you find it convenient to have account management in terms of project management?
You mean
talking to the customer?
That's I do it. And then we have Prasad here. You met him. So he's a business analyst. He does talking with the clients. So we both talk.
All right. And how about your developers? If there are, let's say, technical people on the client side, do you let them talk?
Oh yeah, we interact with clients very consistently and very frequently. So developers and the whole team, they talk with clients.
Is there anything you learned to delegate, or is there anything you started delegating after some time?
Yeah, in the initial stage of the company, we were only 3 people. So we were doing everything from sales to development, design, and marketing. You name it. So after that, we started to bring more guys. We were doing the interviews and then bringing more candidates for recruitment. As a CEO and me, I was doing it. My partner's also doing it. So it's not good to do everything, right? So we were bringing a talent acquisition guy into the team, and then we were bringing business analysts into the team, content writers into the team. So that's how we delegated everything.
Can you describe your company culture? Is there anything special about it?
Yeah, so we're very flat. So anybody can talk with anybody. We're very open. There is no very huge hierarchy since we are a very small startup. So it's very open, and then we listen to everybody, and then that's very common in the IT industry, right?
All right. And why do you call yourself a startup?
We didn't know anything sales or development or anything. We united as a group, and then we started experimenting everything, and then we were taking risks. as I mentioned, we didn't get salaries for 6 months at the initial stage. So that's how we call it as a startup. So it's very fragile and very risky.
All right. Was it a bonding experience not to have salary for 6 months?
Yeah, it's very hard.
But did it bond you together?
Yeah. So there's no there's no hierarchy, as I mentioned. Everybody is equal here. So we work day and night. Like we were working 20 hours a day. Like that. So that's how we started.
All right. But what do you think about work-to-life balance?
Yeah, it's pretty hard. Like I always fight with the girlfriend. It's very hard, and my friends they had problem with families. We don't go to the home, meet my mother like that. So very hard. But we accepted that we have to take this. Then we can grow. Otherwise, yeah.
But do you think it's gonna change anytime soon?
Yeah, it's much better. Now we work around 8 to 10 hours. I mean, I was mentioning the early stage of it's been 3 years. First 1.5 years were very hard, and then we raised an investment from an investor. That's how we scaled the team to this size.
And is finding talent in Sri Lanka and in Colombo easy?
It's very hard. It's not like India. We don't have that much population here. We have only 22 million people. So very hard to source that IT industry people. We have very limited education institutes here, and then the government, the state universities also taking very lower people in. So and there are a lot of companies that a lot of startups are coming up, and then a lot of foreign companies are coming into Sri Lanka. So it's very hard to get talents here.
Mm-hmm. But normally, how long does it take you to find a developer here? If you need, let's say, to extend your team with new hires, how long does it take to get one person on board?
It takes about 1 to 2 months.
And do you have any dedicated staff for that, like
yes.
HR or recruiter?
We have a talent acquisition hire. He's doing this recruitment stuff.
And once you've hired someone, you gotta keep them, right? And how is keeping talent working for you?
Yeah, that's one. That's why we have this luxury office here. We invested a lot of money from our investment and then from our revenue. And then we recently, 2 days ago, we had our annual get together. We were giving gifts and we do we providing laptops, and then we keep these motivation stuff going all the time. We have internal tech talks, internal meetings every week like that, and we keep them, and then we also offer this vesting stuff it's called that vesting. We give a percentage of ownership to our employees.
Uh-huh. And how does this work? Let's say I'm a new developer in the company, and then I want some options shares. Mm-hmm. Do you have a clear plan how I'm getting one?
Yeah, not everybody is getting from interns or very early stage teammates, but we give it for lead roles. Let's say you are a mobile lead, we will be giving you, but you have to stay about 3 to 5 years with us.
Mm-hmm. And once they quit, what happens?
If you quit before that period, you can't get it. After that, if you let's say you stay for 5 years, you get a 0.5% of company's shares. You can leave it after that. It's not it, but as usual, they won't be leaving. They own this company, part of it, right? So that's what we believe.
Okay, and how are these shares in the company legally protected? Do you have all the paperwork in place?
Yeah. So we are a Sri Lankan legal entity. It's called private limited company. We registered at Sri Lankan government, and then we have lawyers to sign agreements. So it's very legal stuff.
And in Colombo and in Sri Lanka, what are the salaries, average salaries for software developers?
So developers, depending on the company, product companies, they offer a lot of salaries, but as a service company, we can't offer that much because So we have to offer lower price to our clients. That's how we can get from North America or Europe like that, right? So it depends, but let's say a senior software engineer, they earn 150,000 rupees to 250,000 rupees.
How much is it in dollars?
It's dollars. It's about 750 to 1,250.
All right, that's for senior developers.
Seniors. But sometimes they even earn 2,000 like that, so depending on their technology and then company experience.
And what's the staff turnover in your company? I mean, despite of all of those efforts that you put in place to keep your people, some leave, right?
Yes.
Annually, what was this staff turnover that you experience?
About 20%.
20%.
Yeah.
This is pretty good.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about delivery, right? And how do you achieve quality? What's your approach to quality, both on code level and also on the functional level?
We have, as I mentioned, we have quality assurance engineers. So after each stage of delivery, each stage of process, we let them check and then make sure that we matching their expected quality. So and after that, we deliver it to the client. So we split this every project as a sprints, in agile method. So let's say a sprint is 2 weeks. We have about 3-4 days for quality assurance tests.
Well, that's the functional quality assurance, but how about the code level quality assurance? That's let's say the code is written properly.
Yeah.
It follows the common patterns. It's easy to read. It's maintainable. How do you ensure that?
Okay, so we each team they have a tech lead, the experienced guy as a lead. So so let's say there are junior level engineers so this is how we team up the team. Each team have 5 members, 2 front end, 1 back end, and 1 quality assurance and 1 tech lead. So the tech lead will have much experience than junior developers. They will check each code push to the commits to our Bitbucket repositories, and they will check each lines and then they will commit it.
All right. So tech leads work as bullshit filters for the code from juniors.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Now describe your greatest achievement as a company or as an entrepreneur.
We didn't think we can achieve this, but within 1 year we were able to reach $100,000 as a revenue. That's we see as a very big ambitious achievement.
100,000 per year
Per
turnover.
year, within 1 year.
Mm-hmm. Have you told me about your tech stack? No. What's your tech stack?
We have core tech stacks like Flutter, React for front end, and if it's native, we have Kotlin and then Swift for iOS. And then the backend technologies we mostly use Firebase, Laravel, Node.js for backend, and then in the database stuff we use MongoDB for database, and then we deploy on AWS mostly.
So more or less mean stack.
Yeah.
It's, by the way, it turns out to be very popular here in Sri Lanka. I spoke with another company owner yesterday, and they are like a purely mean shop. Manga, Node. So, and what's your favorite project so far?
We worked with a company called Indo Energy. It's a logistic product, so they supply biodiesel to Europe from Indonesia. So they have a lot of vessels, bowsers, trucks and so on to transport these biodiesel from their factories. But they were using only mobile phone and then WhatsApp to communicate and organize those vessels. So their revenue is about more than $100 million per year. And then they were using $500,000, $500,000 every month due to this inefficient communication. So because they scaled to this size within 5 years, they couldn't put their system in place. So we analyzed their problem, we fixed their problems. Like we built an MVP and then give it for their usage. So that was very interesting for us.
But did it stay on the level of MVP or did it develop further?
They haven't started developing further. We had delivered about 2 months back. So they started using their internal process. So they will be start adding more and more features soon.
Where are most of your customers from?
Most of our customers from North America, Canada, and then Canada. Basically, in numbers, it's Canada, but if it's revenue, it's Europe.
And how do you get customers mostly?
We have a very strong network. We use social networks like LinkedIn, Facebook as a communication tool, like lead generation tools. And then we have strong network from, YAL IT Hub. It's a community, so they have very strong community in Sri Lanka and also in abroad and foreign countries. So we have meetings every month like that. So we frequent meetings and stuff. So I go and meet people there. There are people who are coming from US or Europe to here in Sri Lanka. We meet people. And then we recently traveled to Germany, and then we met people there as well. So.
So people come here to scout for companies to basically execute on their ideas or projects.
Exactly. So the YAL IT Hub, they have multiple projects, like they conduct hackathons, they bring in investors, they conduct accelerator programs, incubators. So the investors are coming to Sri Lanka, and then they are like experts and they are also coming, and then the investors and then business owners, they are coming to Sri Lanka, so we meet them.
And you mentioned networking and social media like LinkedIn. What exactly are you doing to attract customers there?
We have a very good portfolio in our LinkedIn like company profile, and then we consistently update that profile, and then we have portfolio on Dribble, Behance. And then we brand things out, and then we go and talk with people whether they need our help as a usual companies. So that's how we get it.
All right. And how does working with different cultures feel? Like, let's say when you're working with Canadian businesses or US businesses or European businesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very hard. Like timeline is also like we are 12 hours away from US. That's very hard. And then and from Europe, it's 4.5 hours. Yeah, so it's very hard to manage these time zones. And also in culture-wise, we work with German clients. They speak Dutch and they barely speak English. So that's very hard. But we adapt into it, and then we have certain solutions to overcome these problems.
All right, because my question is more about cultural differences. And for instance, like people working with India, they say that the biggest challenge they have there is that they always say yes. So whatever you ask, they like yes sir.
Yeah.
And then when let's say there is a tight deadline, they ask if the deadline is feasible. The Indians say yes, but when the deadline comes, they say no, it wasn't feasible.
Yeah.
And how is Sri Lanka different?
Yeah, it's kind of same. So Sri Lanka and India is very close, and we share most of our culture with each other. So it's the same with Sri Lanka, almost same. The Sri Lankan, as a Sri Lankan people, we are not very particular of time. That's a big problem. That we have 2 project managers to ensure that they deliver on time.
So is there any specific strategy you have in place to combat that cultural trait? Besides the 2 project managers. Do you coach your people somehow to always say realistic things in terms of estimates?
And then we let them talk with clients. We bring all the team. Let's say they're a team with 5 members. We take them all to their meetings, delivery meetings, and then brainstorm meetings with clients. They interact with clients frequently.
So they feel more personal responsibility.
Yes. Yeah, we give them responsibility, so they have to deliver it. Instead of we are pushing them, we let them take that responsibility.
And who are the hardest customers to work with, in your experience?
For me, it's Canadian people. Because we mostly have in terms of number, we have most clients in Canada. So but the problem is the timeline, time zone again. So it's 12 hours difference about. So it's so they start messaging us in the night. So we sometimes we have to like wake up and then stay in the whole night to talk with them and then deliver stuff like work or fix bugs, something like that. So that's very hard, but we have to take this because that's how things move, right?
All right. So let's say you have a fixed code project. How do you assess it to be on the safe side? How do you put a price tag on it?
We have certain documentation. The first one is scope of work, defining the scope of work. So we break the task into smaller pieces. Like we have a certain documents method. So we break all up into like very lower level, and then we like let's say we have a login page. We have certain forms level, username and password. Like we have split it like that, very lower level, and then we ask each member to give their required time, and we assess. And then we multiply with our hourly rate, and then we come up with a total price.
But do you have only one figure for the hours, or are those multiple figures?
We different prices based on the resource, seniority, and then.
No, that's the hourly rate differentiation. But how about variety? But how about, let's say you assess one small task, right, which you obtained as a result of your breakdown. You assess it with only one hourly figure. Let's say it's only like 10 hours, right? This form 10 hours. Next, 20 hours.
No, not like that. Sometimes it's like 10 to 12 hours.
Okay, so there is a range, always. And then do you give the customer the highest price or the range price?
Highest.
The highest, to be on the safe side. All right. And speaking of pricing, what are the average hourly rates in Sri Lanka?
It's about $10 to $20 like that, and then we charge 14 to 16 mostly, based on the resource.
But still inexpensive compared to Europe. And you said that after that exercise with half a year without salaries, you put the sales process in place. And so do you also have some marketing? Do you do any marketing activities?
Yeah, I'm doing. That's what I do. Like I do the sales and marketing part of the company, and then
But what exactly do you do for marketing?
We have I travel, and then again the same story. Like I travel and meet people. So I believe that
that's mostly sales, I think. Marketing, I mean, maybe social media marketing, or maybe search engine optimization, or maybe content marketing when you publish like articles on your blog on an ongoing basis. I mean, something like that.
Yeah, we have portfolios on Behance, Scribble, and then we have LinkedIn pages, and then we put like consistent updates on that, and then we also publish blog articles, and we answer Quora questions like that, and then our developers, they're helping on Stack Overflow and so on. Like collectively we work through social media and then available platforms to ensure our company is outreaching.
And how's that working? How many leads per month are you having with this activity?
I think it's about 20 to 30.
20 to 30?
Yeah.
That's a great result. Yeah. Because to me, it's working like this, but with 20 grand investment monthly into marketing, like sponsored posts, listings, and like you have to do a lot.
Okay. Yeah. You're using those stuff to gain customers for your client company?
Well, we've been promoting our services, and first of all through our websites, but then also with to improve SEO rankings of the websites, we need to do some crowd marketing and buy some backlinks, and that's something that comes with the price tag that is costing us. And what else? Then we work with other sites, let's say listings, and we place sponsored content with them, promotional content.
And then so I have a question for you, like what's the pricing from Ukrainian companies? Like what's the range?
The range is, so on the average, I think nowadays they sell for, I don't know how they're surviving on this rate, but like 30, I think there is a rate. Some have 40 and 50.
40?
40, 50. And we we are on the high end of price, and we are like 70, 80, 100 sometimes.
Okay.
That's. But it's also been happening over the years, because only a few years ago it was much lower.
Okay.
Because, well, my approach is to sell less but more expensive. Then I can concentrate on quality, and then I can really hire the best people and do my best and invest my own time into making this like a good process and delivering good results. I can afford to be involved myself, and this is how it's working.
Good,
Because some people prefer to sell more but for cheaper. That's another approach, and it's also working. But then you have to manage too many things, right? I'm fine with the smaller team, but bigger margin.
Yeah, that's good.
That's the idea.
For us, it's like we are charging very low price compared to European companies, so that's how we can approach them. But eventually, we would like to specialize on something very specialized, like this particular technology, this particular industry, and so on. Like we wanted to segment out stuff. That's what we are working right now. So after we specialize on something, we can do what we are doing.
Yeah, well, but I think also this is affected by the cost of living here, because it's probably cheaper than in Ukraine or anywhere else in Europe.
Yes.
And this is how you afford to work for less. But I think it's better to stick out not as the cheapest shop, but the best shop. So that people come to you not because of the price, but because of your experience, because they trust you personally, and that's what I consider the best approach, and this is what I've been practicing myself.
Great.
Yeah. By the way, you can also ask me questions, because this is a conversation, not an interview.
What I started.
Yeah, when I'm thinking on my questions, you can come up with yours. And speaking of margin, like what's a good margin in a service business in Sri Lanka, in an IT service business?
It's better to have at least 30% as a margin. The problem is it's again from that fixed cost models, we end up with burning up all the money. That's very bad for us.
Just drop them, my advice. And the sooner you drop them, the better. Let the others take it. Let the Indians take it, let anyone else take it, because otherwise you just get sucked with this scope creep, and you make no money or even pay out of your own pocket. So
the problem we had in the initial stage, the leads coming up, and then they inquire for, I need 10 developers, but we don't have 10 developers. So they leave. So what we are doing right now is we basically surviving, and then we scale the team very little by little, and then we can go and ask for large projects, right? So that's the strategy that we are working right now, because right now we have set up a German company. It's called Huex GmbH. So we are targeting German market for now. So to approach a certain level company, we want certain resources. It's like a Uber's driver passenger problem. So why we are taking this fixed cost model is we want to survive. We want to even run, get the cost for at least, so we can run and then scale it up little by little, and then we can start approaching enterprise level companies and get them in.
That's a good plan. And the German company is something I wanted to ask you about, because I spent 15 years in Germany. I lived in Berlin, and I know that working with the German companies is a bit tricky, because it's very difficult to get them as customers in the first place. They will not work with you, at least it was back in my day, they won't work with you if only you had 10 years, if you knew them for 10 years, right? And then they trust you, because there are big trust issues. And how do you get German customers? Do you have anyone in Germany?
Yeah, we have German people actually. So it's very difficult. Again, it's very difficult for us as a Sri Lankan to go there and get projects without knowing anybody. So we have Dutch people who can go and get it. So we are in conversation with few people, and some people agree to work with us to get projects. So they have very strong network there. So and one plus point for German customers is so once they trust you, they will trust for a longer time, right? Kind of.
Well, I have mixed feelings about it, because recently there was a customer who said, what was that? So yeah, we had quite a bad outcome of one of our collaborations because they said like, all right, I'm not paying this invoice and I'm requesting like discounts from all the previous invoices because you took too many hours to implement this. And the guy is not even technical, right?
Yeah.
He just thinks it should have taken 2 hours instead of 10. And he only sees the UI, but he has no idea what's going on the backend and what kind of effort is required on the backend. But I really, like after 17 years, and like the proportion of that particular customer in my income is like this. So I said like, I'm not wasting my own time on this. I'm just passing this to the lawyer. I don't want to deal with it. And according to the contract, they cannot like dispute invoices that are already past due, and like they will have to talk about it with the lawyer. But it was really stressful.
Yeah,
and the next time, because I just moved those guys to my other projects, like much bigger accounts in the US, and they were accepted with a big gratitude there because those projects like were desperate for developers. And I just moved there. The rates are higher there, and I'm just making more money and less stress. I don't know why it had to happen like this, but that's one example of a German customer.
Yeah, I understand this. Yeah, I see this problem. Like, and that's why we have one more thing. Like, our investor is from US, so I'm going to US by maybe May. So we going because we have to get clients from US as well. Like, so this is. It's kind of risky in Germany as well, so that's why we are going to US as well to bring kind of balanced clients.
Okay, and you mentioned investments. Did you get any investments for the company?
Yeah. So it's like it's not for shares or stock from our company. It's kind of growth fund. We have to repay in 3 years without no interest. So it came through the JAL IT Hub network, but because we participated on an accelerated program for 6 months. After that, we got that guy. He wants to create job opportunities for Sri Lankan people. So that's how we invested his money.
All right. And is he getting any percentage, any equity? No. He's just given a loan with no interest.
No interest. Right? He wants to help us.
All right, that's very kind of
very
him.
Lucky.
Who's the guy?
His name is Raj. So they are
of Sri Lankan origin.
Yeah, origin. Yes. They have a foundation called Serenity Foundation.
Mm-hmm. That's very cool. I mean, when there are Sri Lankans abroad helping those back home, this is very nice. And every agency has this problem called bench. Do you get this often? Do you have people who sit on the bench at the moments and?
Not on the bench. Like most of the senior level people, they work all the day, but these interns, they sometimes go for bench. But we have some practice tasks. They will like basically. So this is one of the strategy to recruit people. Like we train people and then we take them as a full-time employees for long term. So that's one of the strategies we're working. So those guys, they might sit on bench, but because the seniors are very busy with tasks, they don't assign any like training things to these guys. But it's happening sometimes.
And how do you keep them busy when they're on the bench? Like even those interns or juniors?
You mean
what kind of tasks are you giving to them?
To the interns?
Yes.
We give them some practice, like let's say if it's a user experience designer, we give them to design some portfolio stuff. So like that will help the company to get more customers. Like there's a guy who's working on our triple portfolio for our company.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Then you can also benefit from their work, even though they're not working for a customer. Yes. Like I did the same in my quality assurance company. Whenever someone is not working on customer projects, we give them the task to find a popular app, test it for bugs, and that bug report is posted on our website. So whenever they're not working, they're on the bench, basically, they can do this exercise, and then we approach those companies saying that here's our report if you want to work with us.
Yeah, it's a good idea to bring more leads, right?
Yeah, it's a growth hacking strategy I came up with.
Nice idea.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we cannot apply it to everyone in the company, and sometimes we come up with some internal projects, but it's not working very well with people on the bench because they're like, this shit again.
They get bored.
Yeah, they're not even bored. They don't understand why why they need to work on this.
Yeah.
If it's not the customer, so it's very difficult. If you want product, it's a whole different story. It's a different business model.
Yeah.
It's difficult to grow a product in a service business.
So you keep all of your stuff in Ukraine, or do you have branches on other countries as well?
Well, at the moment, all of our guys are from Ukraine. Some work from abroad, but most of them are located throughout the country, mostly in our two offices in Kyiv and in Zaporizhia. But then we also have people from Odessa, that's another big city, from Lviv, from a few other big cities.
Yeah.
And since we are a remote team, and like every IT team since COVID started, right? We can work remotely as long as we need.
So this situation with the current situation, the war situation in Ukraine, is it affecting your business? Are they dropping?
Yes and no, because my customers, some are being very pushy in terms of like, move your people out. And then I like, okay, but if their kids are going to school, do they have to find another school? And if their spouses are working, do they have to look for a job?
Yeah.
Like, how do you think, it's not an army, they cannot be moved like this overnight, right? It has to be prepared, and so, like, it's an effort. It's not that they are all single digital nomads.
Yeah.
We don't hire, no, mostly we don't hire these people because they are not very loyal employees. And
they move.
and like our guys, they're deeply rooted where they are, and it's very difficult for them. It means like basically disrupting their lives.
Yeah.
And unless they see a clear reason for that, they're not gonna do it.
Yeah. So I mean, in the lead wise, like, so all customers, the existing customers are staying with you, but in the lead wise, when you get the leads, is it dropping?
With the leads, yes and no.
Again.
Like some leads do express this concern. Some don't, and some really start working with us. But we don't onboard many customers these days. So we concentrate on our present customers, and some of them like make this kind of demands. Then I reached out to my other key customers and said, like, if you want to contribute to a workation, let's say for a month, then this is what you can do. You can give me an approval that you give me this much money, because my business model is not designed for a workation for the whole team. And then also it's not only your team. Consider there are also people who do very important things in the company but not billable to the customer, like recruiters, HRs, office managers, SEO people, marketing, sales. Like we cannot discriminate based on project or something. And but I have a few customers who agreed to contribute, and with this and with my own money, I can afford this kind of effort. It's only that basically no one wants to leave.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I have a bunch who would consider, and I said, all right, guys, let's find us some accommodation on the Mediterranean coast in Turkey. Let's go there for a month. Regardless of the situation, it's a good bonding team experience. Because why would we be on the same place? Let's go somewhere else and have fun on the beach. We can work just like normal, like we do, but then we move somewhere else and, I don't know, go see sunset, go have dinner together. If it's not too cold, we can swim in the sea. So it should be fine.
Good.
That's the idea right now. And so with the craziest news that I've been reading on a daily basis, I don't know, man. This is just too crazy to be true. I don't know. Just no one could even
I hope that
prognose
there won't be any problem there. Like, it will be all right soon. Like, so I know that there are a lot of companies. It's kind of India. It's kind of India in Europe, right? Ukraine. That means like a lot of IT companies are from Ukraine. Like we also get a lot of messages over LinkedIn, and then I know that plenty of IT companies are in Ukraine. Like they outsource people, right? So that when it's this war situation come up, so I thought, okay, then there are US companies and then other companies, they are going to pull it out. So now it's, I think after your answer, I think it's okay, right? It won't be a big problem.
It depends at the extent it's getting to, right? So if it's a full-scale war, of course, many people are going to leave, and we'll have to find another place for them to live and work. And if it's only like a local conflict in the east of the country, then everything else will will experience some stress, but will stay the same.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hope it will be okay.
Yeah, me too, man, because this is too crazy. Because now
so war is very bad.
I
experienced it as a person. It's very bad. We lost so many relations and stuff. So.
What attracted my attention is that many companies here in the IT area are founded in 2010.
Yeah.
1 year after the war ended.
Yeah, but most of the companies are like that. Yeah, only a few companies that like founded in 2005 or 2000. Like it's not like India. We are like very related into this industry. That's one of the problem that we behind other countries. Like yeah, there's no company like yours. Like I think one or two who is having 17 years experience. So that's one big problem.
All right. And how is doing business in Sri Lanka? Like, is it easy to incorporate, to operate, to pay taxes, to be transparent, to deal with the government?
Yeah, it's very, very open. It's very like within 1 or 2 days you can incorporate a company, and then for IT companies there's no tax for now, zero.
Zero?
Yeah.
Wow.
In this government they like exempted all the tax for IT and then agriculture, I guess. Yeah.
For how long?
For 5 years, I think. There are 3 more years. They exempted. We don't pay any tax. We have to file the tax, but we don't need to pay.
But with non-IT companies, how much is the tax?
I think it's about 14.
14. Is it the corporate tax that you pay in the end of the year?
Not tax. We don't pay taxes for salaries. We don't pay.
No one pays them?
No one pays.
Officially?
Officially. We don't even file it. But I don't know, that's caused another problem. That's the country, they don't have dollars right now. That's another
Yes, this is what I was told. Like, I had no idea about this until yesterday when another guy told me that on the country account there is only $1 million left or something.
Yeah, less than 1 billion.
1 million or billion?
Billion.
Billion is good money for a country like Sri Lanka, no?
No, it's not.
No, it's not enough?
GDP is about $72 billion, 80 billion. Right now, the thing in the news, they don't have dollars to pay for fuel. If you check for a fuel station, you can't get it. Sometimes in Colombo, it's very hard.
And that explains the whole exchange rate difference between the official and unofficial.
Yeah, it's about 50 rupees difference. But as a company, we can't go for unofficial stuff. So we have to...
You have to sell your dollars for Sri Lankan rupees.
Yeah.
And then you're losing a big percentage, about 20% of your income.
25, 20.
And what happens, let's say, if you incorporate abroad, let's say you have a German company and just keep the euros there?
Yeah, it's good.
Or there's even an easier way in Europe. Like my business is incorporated in Estonia.
I also have a resident in
Estonia. But do you have a company in Estonia?
I haven't. I just got, when I go to we don't have Estonian embassy here in Sri Lanka. So I got my kit from Berlin. So I collected about 1 month ago. So I haven't started registering the company yet. So I am planning to do it because the Estonia has 99.98 or something where they have everything online, right?
Yeah, Estonia is very convenient. They have 0 corporate tax. There is a tax on dividends. And what else? Like everything is super easy. You get yourself a bookkeeper. It's also less expensive than in Germany. Like in Germany, maintaining a GmbH is already an investment.
Yeah, already an investment. But another problem is like we can't get visas easily. So that's why we have registered as a GmbH. So if you have a company there, it's much easier
to get a visa.
Okay. Otherwise, yeah, I actually submitted 1.5 kilos worth of documents to get 40 days visa last time.
Fuck, man. That's too difficult.
Like, problem,
Germany is not worth it.
No, I mean, it's a Schengen visa. Like, I can travel for all Schengen countries, like, including Ukraine.
No, it's for Schengen, but Ukraine is not Schengen. Ukraine is not the European Union.
Other 27 countries.
It's close to the European Union, but is not a part of it. And we can travel visa-free to the Schengen, but Ukraine for most of the world. I'm not sure about Sri Lanka, but
the Sri Lankan people, what they do?
Ukrainian visa for it. Okay. Sometimes depends on your passport.
Okay. Yeah, it must be.
So it's not a package deal, but then there may be a regulation where with the Schengen visa you could enter Ukraine as a national of, let's say, a certain amount of Asian countries. Maybe. I haven't checked that.
Okay. So the Sri Lankan people, what they do is they go to Europe and then they stay there. That's the problem. That's why the passport, the validity or the ranking is dropped.
Yeah.
So that's the problem.
And how much have you traveled?
How
much have you traveled? So how many countries?
So this is I went to Germany and then I went to France, Belgium and Netherlands. That's the first time I'm out of Sri Lanka. So this is the first visa.
And how about here around Sri Lanka in Asia, like Thailand or India? Or...
This is the first time I'm on flight.
Wow. Yeah.
Since we are running a business, they gave a visa. Otherwise, you can't get it.
Yeah, because I asked people here, and they're like, "No, we haven't been abroad. No, never.
Never.
Only Sri Lanka."
And it's an island. So.
Yeah, it's an island. So yeah, when I started my company, I was 23 years old.
Oh. Wow.
You are 24, and you started when you were 19.
Yes.
That's impressive. What would you advise to all the young entrepreneurs who want to start their business?
So in Sri Lanka, it's very hard to get in the university. But when you get into the university, you will be about 21 years old. That's when you start the university. So that's a big problem in Sri Lanka. So the whole Sri Lankan community.
I finished the university when I was 20.
Oh yeah, I know that. In Europe and then yeah.
In Europe, well, it depends. In Ukraine, you finish when you are 21 or 22. I finished a year earlier because I went to school a year earlier. I was 6 and all of my classmates were 7. But in Europe, in Germany, for instance, you are a student till you are 30 or something. Many people study till they're 30 because they just chill. They don't want to.
So in Sri Lanka, so that's the one problem. Yeah, they graduate about 26 years old, like that. So that's big problems. Like instead of going for that route, they have to take entrepreneurial path. There are a lot of ways to start companies. There are a lot of opportunities, like in tourism and then exporting goods from Sri Lanka, in IT and other industries. My sister is also doing business. She's an entrepreneur. So this is doing a different business, so not in IT. So that's like that. So there are a lot of opportunities in Sri Lanka. So they have to work. They have to start at the early stage. That's I would recommend because they can take risks, right? So when it comes to a family man, it's very hard to take risk. So at this early stage, they can risk. They can try. They have to try it out and then experiment stuff.
So the earlier you start, the better.
Yeah,
I definitely support that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Gobi, for the conversation.
Thanks.
It was very interesting to talk to you and learn about how the things are here in Sri Lanka. And come to Ukraine. You're always welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.